Welcome to another episode of the Bloomers Podcast. My name is Umar. The Bloomers Podcast is a channel where we talk about self-help, mental health. We basically talk about things in life that people don't normally talk about. And today is a special guest episode. A very big supporter of the channel is here with me today. So if you'd like to introduce yourself.
My name is Daphne. I am here today to talk about mental health and self-help. I'm not going to school right now.
Oh, okay.
Most of what I do for work is look after my younger brother.
Okay.
And, last weekend I just played in a softball tournament.
Oh, yeah?
Which was super fun.
Okay. And you won, right? You won?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good stuff.
I did win.
Okay.
My team won, yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. But yeah, Daphne's been a very big supporter of the channel. And obviously, that's why you're here, right? Like, you freaking, I always show the fans love, all right? It's that's just something I owe the fans. But yeah, so the first thing we always talk about is how we met. So we were in Econ 201 and 203, that's not how you say it. Macro and microeconomics in high school, which I really didn't like at the time. But do you remember when we met? Because I do.
I just remember that when I was in econ, I didn't think anybody liked me.
It's because you sat at the front of the class and you always answered the questions correctly.
Yeah, and that's probably why people probably started not to like me, but I don't remember specifically when you and I met for the first time, though.
Okay, so it wasn't 201, micro, it was macro. It was like a random day. I remember we were looking, everyone was standing at the front of the class looking at things, and then we had like a really short conversation. But it was like, then I was like me sitting at my desk and you were like standing and then we were talking. I don't remember what it was about, but I just have that memory. But yeah, Daphne was like in the front of the class, like the econ nerd, like answering all the questions, which was crazy. Yeah, you were freaking genius. Good stuff.
That feels like a long time ago now.
It was, yeah. That class was almost 5 years ago now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that got grade 11. But were you a fan of micro or macro more?
I think I liked micro more.
Really? Oh crap! Okay.
Just because it was like the first semester of econ that we did, and then I did really well on my IA. And I think...
Oh, right, the first one, yeah.
That's kind of what, like, set it for me. It was like, oh, I really like this class.
Yeah.
And it felt like I was going at the same pace as our econ teacher was.
Yeah.
So it seemed really like I was on top of it. It felt like one of those classes in high school I was on top of. I always knew what was going on.
Yeah.
That was, like, kind of why I liked it.
Yeah. I would just ignore that.
Okay.
But yeah, okay. Let's jump into the topics now.
Let's do it. Yeah. One thing that I wanted to talk about, especially because we're bringing up high school, is becoming an adult and leaning into like adult life. One thing that I find really difficult about being an adult is realizing how everyone who we went to high school with is at different parts of their life, especially when I realized that some people we know who went to high school are getting married and having children, and it kind of seems like there's a lot that can happen after high school. And then I also wanted to talk about kind of just my own journey with university, because I know that you have been going to university, I think, right out of high school, right?
Yeah. Gone straight out of, yep.
And then for me, I kind of was in university, and then I went to another university for a bit. I went to SAIT for a bit, and then now I'm not in university anymore. I wanted to talk about how I think it's really interesting the journeys different people go on in their lives.
Okay. Yeah. So what's your journey been then?
My journey's been very, like, learn as I go. I think that every day and every year is like something new I have to learn. And I think it gets some things that I'm good at, they get easier until there's something new that I have to learn, and then it's like a whole new challenge again.
Yeah.
I think one of the hardest parts of that is being in university. I know it's probably different for you. I don't know what's your university experience been like?
It was for me. It was hell on earth for the first 2 years, and then like 3 and 4 it got like really, really good. Like, I mean, 4 hasn't started, but like 3 was really good, third year, and then this year I'm like extremely excited to be back.
That's good.
Yeah, but it was like very, like mentally, it was very, very bad for the first 2 years. Like a lot of stress. I just didn't know how to deal with it, and like, yeah, I wasn't prepared properly. But then after like suffering so badly, like the third year was like so much better because I just learned so much from all the mistakes. And then, yeah, now 4th year, I'm like, I love school. But like after first year, and going into second, I was like, I hate school. Like, I hate university.
Okay.
Yeah, it was garbage.
When I started out university, I went straight into engineering right out of high school, and it was really difficult. I thought it was really difficult because I think at the time I thought that was like the only thing I was good at and the only thing I could do, the only thing I wanted to go to school for. And then it was really difficult, and I think after that I started to feel kind of like I can't do anything if I can't do this, and it was really disheartening.
Well, yeah, that's like, dude, Eng students have the worst mental health, and like they actually have like a mandatory, or at least here they have like a mandatory program now, or like a session where like you have to attend that. Like every student, it's mandatory for them to attend because it's like their mental health is so bad. But yeah, that's like the complaint is like engineering is just too hard for like something that shouldn't even be that hard, but it is.
Yeah.
What led you to like decide you didn't want to do it anymore?
I think it was really just I started getting behind in my classes, and then I started deciding that I think there was something going on in like with my self-esteem, because I felt like I didn't belong there, and I felt like I didn't want to be there anymore. And then I stopped going to classes, and it was really rough going from like the way I was in high school, where I was always on top of studying, to feeling like that at school, which like is usually something that I really, really like. Yeah. It was really hard to go into not feeling like I belonged in a place with other people who were interested in the same thing that I was interested in. And I think it was also a little bit of it was the chemistry. The chemistry they teach you in first year engineering is just like way above my pay grade, I think. Yeah, I thought you meant mental chemistry for a second. That was hilarious. My brain chemistry, no. Yeah, dude, chemistry's garbage. Yeah, it's very bad. So you felt like, yeah, I guess I see what you're saying. Like the difference between high school and university, that shift in like who you are. So yeah, so then how would you like overcome that? I think, well, really what I started doing is I started going to therapy. So really? Okay. Yeah. Oh, let's talk about that. Yeah, that's cool. It was really important, I think, because I had been wanting to go to therapy for quite a while. And then I ended up getting into an adult program while I was in university that was more geared towards adult and adolescent mental health rather than youth mental health. Okay. So I started going to that program, and I got connected with a therapist that was really helpful for me. And it, like, I'll be honest with you, it's not quick in terms of the therapy process. Yeah. So I think it took me like at least a year to start seeing progress and start feeling better. A year? Yeah. And I'm not sure if that's like common amongst other people who attend therapy, but for me it was really difficult to kind of get to the point where I could start seeing changes in myself. Okay. And so I've been going to therapy for maybe like 3 or 4 years. Really? So quite a while. I guess it doesn't feel like that long, but it's helped me get back to that point where I actually feel confident enough in myself that I can feel uncomfortable in certain situations. Like even coming here and being on a podcast is something that I don't necessarily feel comfortable with, but I'm leaning into it and trying something new.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something I very much respect, so thank you. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, and then after about, I don't know, maybe like a semester or two, I went to a different university, and I started doing classes there, but it didn't work out the way I had wanted it to so much, and so I have been kind of just focusing on my therapy journey, and as I mentioned, like looking after my little brother.
Yeah. So how did it not like work out? Like what was the problem?
I think in my life I wasn't really ready to go back, and that's something I realized a bit later, is I had gained back my kind of like motivation to want to, but I don't think I was really ready in terms of like the way that my habits were, or the way that my days were set up. And so I didn't really succeed in going back to school, but even though I really, really wanted to, and I think there's probably a lesson there somewhere that even if you want to do something and you are ready for it in your head, you may not be ready for it, physically, and when it comes around to it. So I think for now I'm not...
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I can relate to that, yeah.
Yeah, for now I'm not really sure where my school journey is going to take me. I think right now I'm just trying to find a good enough job so I can get myself out of the house, really. And that's kind of where I'm at in terms of schooling and working.
Yeah.
I just want to take a moment to talk about how much I value my family.
Yeah.
Yeah, there have been wonderful supports through everything, and I really am fortunate that I have a loving family. This is a little aside, a little tangential note, but
yeah, no, who are you closest with in your family?
I think it's hard to say. I feel like everyone who I live with in my house I'm really close with.
Yeah.
But I also feel really close with my older brother, because he's the closest in age to myself.
Yeah.
And he also kind of has the same goofy sense of humor as me.
Yeah.
And when he was away doing university in another city, I would miss him a lot, and I think that was that contributed a lot to me just feeling lonely in general.
Oh yeah.
Not having my older brother around.
I know exactly what you mean. My sister's gone too, and it's it's like losing a best friend for a little bit. But just going back to the therapy, because I think that's really interesting, because I don't know many people who have gone to therapy, because it's expensive, right? Is it expensive?
I think it depends what kind of therapy you get, because all of the therapy that I've received has been through Alberta Health.
Okay.
So it's paid for through provincial healthcare.
Okay. And is it what's the biggest takeaway of it for you?
I think there's kind of a lot, but I think really it's the most important thing that I've learned is just that there is a balance between feeling good and being happy and not feeling great and not being happy.
Yeah. That
we all just kind of have to live with. And I think that has helped me realize that it's not really the end of the world when I don't have a good day, and it's not really, it doesn't mean that my work is done and everything's better when I have a good day.
Yeah.
And besides that, I've also learned tons of skills from therapy. I think a lot of the groups that the group therapies I've been in are really helpful in terms of skill building.
Yeah. And
just learning life skills that I feel like many people may learn on their own, and many people like myself may need some help learning. Yeah.
So what is it really like what's this, how does it work? How does group therapy work?
For the groups that I was in, I would go. I know my laptop turned off. Might have to just.
Oh, please. Oh, it's still recording. Yeah,
okay.
You're good.
Okay. So for the groups that I did, we would go into this room in the therapy office where I would go, and we would have different, I guess, group leaders. I don't really know what the technical term is, but they would kind of like facilitate the group. So they would have topics that we would discuss, and some of them were discussion-based groups, and some of them were like based on a curriculum of things that we had to learn.
Okay.
And so when I did a few groups, and the groups that I did were really useful for talking to people who were also dealing with the same kind of struggles that I was, and who had the same kind of what am I trying to say? The same kind of journey that they were on that I was.
Yeah.
And I think not only just the learning skills, but being able to, this is like such a cheesy line, but like knowing that you're not alone in what you're struggling with.
Yeah. No, I think as corny and as like stupid as it sounds, it's like actually true, because like sometimes your mind just convinces you that you're the only one like going through something. And then like once you actually go out and see it and you talk to people, it's like man, like I could have it so much worse. But I feel like that mentality is also kind of bad. Like when you compare yourself to others in like how worse things can be, because you got to focus on yourself. But like, yeah. But then like, okay, so you did that. So that was first year. You said was the most effective.
Yeah, right? I would say, no.
Oh really?
I would say it was kind of actually the hardest. Yeah, because the first year was connected with this therapist that I was seeing for quite a while. I saw him for maybe like a year and a half. It was really hard to try and figure out what it is that I needed. And I think when you go into therapy and you know that you need help with something, but you don't really know what it is, it's really hard to get that help. Especially, I was always told when I was doing therapy that I'm very self-aware, and that is not really helpful, because then I know what I'm supposed to do, but I don't know how to do it. And so that was more the barrier that I was coming across, is like it was really hard to implement the skills that I was learning. Yeah. And then I got referred to a different clinic, and that's when I started doing group therapy. And I think it was a lot better because it helped me also to kind of gain some independence in my therapy journey. I think up until I had switched clinics, my parents were a lot more involved with my therapy than maybe I would have liked.
Oh, okay.
And so when I instead got referred to an adult clinic that wasn't an adolescent clinic, it was a lot easier for me to take more control of my therapy journey. Okay. And I think with anything good, it takes time to kind of get to that point.
And is it easily like how did you access therapy in the first place? Because a lot of the times, like, I don't know, I just feel like I've never actually like I'm always the type of person, I don't think I need therapy, but I've always been at times where I think I did. I was just like, okay, things will get better, I'm just not going to do it, and it's probably too hard to get. So how like accessible is it? Alberta
Health has a phone number that you can call, and you can self-refer if you feel like you might need help. Yeah. And that's all things that I wouldn't really have known unless I had been to therapy. Those are the kind of resources that they give you at therapy, is how to access therapy.
Yeah, this is like all news to me. I never knew about any of this. I didn't know that was even possible to like self-refer to like Alberta Health Services therapy.
Yeah, and then they put you in touch. They put you in touch with whatever kind of services they think you may need. And it, of course, depends on your budget. So there are private therapy services you can access, but it depends on how much you can pay. Yeah,
those are expensive, right? Like $150 an hour type thing.
I can't say personally how much therapy costs, but I do know that that's a barrier for a lot of people in terms of accessing therapy.
Oh yeah, okay.
So as I mentioned, last weekend I was playing in a softball tournament. When I was in high school, I played a lot of different sports. I'm not sure if a lot is the right word, but I played field hockey and I did cross country. And then because of COVID, it was really hard to continue playing those sports in high school. it was like, I don't know how that was for you, but when COVID started in like grade 11, it kind of just threw my whole high school experience for a giant loop that I was not expecting.
Yeah.
It was very difficult, so I wasn't able to continue playing sports, which was like made me really sad because I do like playing sports quite a bit. And then recently I joined a softball team, which was, I think, going along the vein of like me just trying things that are really scary for me.
Yeah.
Because even coming here was super nervous, and starting out playing on a softball team was super nerve-wracking, especially because the only kind of ball that I had played before then was playing softball in like gym class in junior high.
Oh yeah.
So I started out and like I didn't have a glove, like a baseball
to catch the yeah. Pass the ball.
And I didn't have a glove, and so I went to a practice and I just started playing, and then I went to the first game and they put me in because they needed female players, and that's just kind of how my whole journey onto this team started. Was me, I just kind of went to support my partner because he plays on that softball team.
Okay.
So I went to softball basically just to watch him play.
Yeah.
And
then you got a spot on the team.
Then I ended up playing, and it was really nice, I think, because even though I was new, everyone who had been playing that sport for a while or who was on the team was really welcoming to try and teach me new things. So if I didn't like know how to throw properly, if I didn't know how to catch, there was always someone there to teach me how to do that.
Yeah. That
was a really valuable part of that, I think, because coming out of high school and then not really doing university, I felt like I was really like thirsting for the learning opportunities that I didn't get while I was not in school.
Yeah.
And so being able to do something that I was fairly new at and then learn tons of things about it in a short period of time. I think our season was only about 2 or 3 months long, and then to go into the championship was a really good opportunity for me.
Yeah.
And I would say that the things that it did in terms of my mental health were really very beneficial, because one of the things that I had mentioned, like coming out of high school going into engineering, was like a little bit of my self-esteem was a bit lower, and I think playing a new sport kind of helped boost my self-esteem.
Yeah.
It was my confidence, especially in terms of like how I was able to feel more like myself and pick up on like a lot of skills that were completely new to me. Like I had never really like done batting before, and then I started doing batting and it was still really hard and I still wasn't very good at it, but I was learning how to do it properly. It was really, I think, really difficult to get myself to do that. I think it was nice to have like an in with going with my boyfriend, but it was really difficult to feel confident, especially at the beginning.
Yeah.
And that kind of brings me full circle back to what I wanted to talk about the shifts in identity. There we go.
Yeah.
I was going somewhere with that.
Okay.
So when I was thinking about like my identity as a sports player, especially in relation to how I felt during high school, is like I'm definitely an athlete and I feel like an athlete, and how that kind of identity kind of changed. I think having that part of me that knows I like to play sports was kind of reawakened when I started playing softball.
Okay.
And I think you might find it interesting because I think throughout adulthood, I've really changed my identity of who I am and what I think about myself. Like probably every few months, I think like, oh, I feel really organized and I think I'm an organized person, and then something happens and then total disorganization.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. And I also think that in terms of playing sports, my identity as an athlete has definitely developed, but I don't think that it's still quite as developed as it was when I was on multiple sports teams like throughout junior high and through high school.
So you're thinking of going and trying out new sports then? Other ones as well?
I think that
field hockey?
I really wish I could play field hockey, and that's kind of, it sounds like a bummer because I probably could go play field hockey, but I feel like I was really robbed of the chance to play field hockey because of COVID.
No, it makes sense. It screwed everyone up. Yeah.
I think I will go play some sports, but I think that for now, I really just want to try and gear my identity towards what I want in the future. Because I think for a long time, I was gearing my identity towards how I was in the past. And I think that didn't really work out for me. I think for the most part, that kind of led me to be at the point where I was kind of mourning the past and grieving for my old self rather than trying to create who I wanted to be as an adult.
Yeah. But I also understand why you'd even, like, at least when I think about this, like, personally for me, it's like you kind of look at, like, the evidence of the past, and that kind of, like, supports how you think about yourself and what you do. So, like, you, like, loving sports while you're in high school and, like, having a good time and associating, like, those times with, like, amazingness, and then, like, COVID kind of taking it away, you're kind of just gonna praise that time, like, always, and, like, have it, like, on, like, a, what do they call a stool?
Pedestal?
Sorry. You're gonna praise those times, right? But yeah, what do you, like, you said you want to look at, instead of the past, you want to make it about the future, so then what does that include?
I think for me, I'm really thinking about trying to shape my identity in terms of who I want to be rather than instead of who I have been. Am I like speaking clearly?
Yeah, you
okay.
are.
There we go.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, I wanted to, especially in terms of like going back to playing softball, I wanted to shape this new identity of like me being a softball player and me being a back catcher. That's the position I play.
Yeah.
Because I think I have this identity of being a field hockey goalie that I'm gonna hang on to, but I think a lot of it just makes me sad rather than feeling optimistic and hopeful. And I don't know if that's like a common emotion that people feel about the past, just like kind of nostalgic, but with a hinge of sadness. Yeah,
I think nostalgia is sadness and hope at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, it's happy, but also, like, extremely sad.
I feel like nostalgia's kind of just, it's like one of those emotions you feel like deep in your heart. Like in between your ribs kind of emotion that really, it seems really painful, but then it also, like, it makes me cry and want to go, like, do something that I did before at the same time. Oh, I lost my train of thought, but that's okay because I have another train of thought.
Yes, okay, let's hear it.
Which is related to nostalgia, because I think one of the things that I really dread feeling is kind of loss and grief. And
really?
Yeah, okay. Which is interesting because in my life I've never really felt any deep feelings of grief. I've not had anyone very close to me die, and so I think kind of just the reality of knowing that kind of thing might happen is a very dreadful feeling for me. And when I look back on high school, a lot of the memories I have of it are good, mixed with like very monotonous.
Really?
Well, I just did a lot of studying in high school, but the like the building and the people and kind of a lot of the schoolwork is what I miss. And I feel really like kind of just sad when I think about high school, because I think that, you know, the me who existed in high school doesn't really exist in the same way anymore. And I think just one of my own like I guess one of my own thoughts is just that I want to kind of move away from feeling sad about that part of my life and move into feeling optimistic about the next part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that also ties back into like wanting to shape my identity on the future.
Yeah. Well, just because certain parts are dead, that's not a bad thing. I mean, like, I think, and like, even if you're feeling like nostalgic about like school or something, have you ever considered like, I was thinking about this. Have you ever considered like joining a different program at university, like something that's more like aligned with like not engineering, but like like something else that you enjoy more? I
have actually, yeah. I think where I really run into an issue is I'm not really sure what I enjoy. Mm-hmm. I think that's probably like the realest thing I've said this entire episode, but it's just hard for me to know what it is that I might like to do, what it is what I might like to learn about. And then on the other side of that coin, there's a lot of the kind of the practicalities of choosing a university course of study. Yeah. But I did change my course of study from engineering to cybersecurity when I switched schools.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I didn't mention that. I just failed to mention that. I'm super interested in cybersecurity, and I really would like to go back and do it again.
That's such a cool like name for like a degree or something, like cyber study.
It's a lot of fun, but it's also a lot of skills that I don't have, which I think is again like why it makes me so excited to talk about. It's because it's just learning, and I love learning. Yeah, and it's like something. Yeah, it goes like back with what you said about like joining softball. Like I feel like even like when you do little stuff like that in life, like it's kind of like it's like you said, it builds your confidence, and like building those like discipline skills and like committing to like something as like softball, you can like translate those now into like school, for example, and like you can kind of, even though it's not the same, like softball and cybersecurity have nothing to do in common, the idea of like commitment and discipline and like just choosing to do something is, I think those translate very well into school. That's super inspiring.
Yeah. No, I think if you ever go back, that would be cool. It's like, because I don't know, it sounds like you want to go back to school.
I would, right? Yeah. I think I'll just I don't need to come up with more reasons not to. Yeah. So I'm just not going to do that.
Yeah. I mean, everyone has their own time. Like I know a lot of people who went to university like at like 22, and like one of my English teacher in high school that's funny, Miss B, you know, the language arts teacher.
Yes.
Yeah, I had her for grade 12, and like she was giving us like a whole talk about like how like her life was so screwed up and her like childhood was so messed up, and then like she got past all that and then like attended university and then became a teacher after not wanting to become a doctor, all this stuff. But it was crazy. It was really inspiring, and it's just like, I think one thing that's bad about like people our age is like the pressure of university, especially going to Churchill, which is like the high school where it's like academics are like the number one priority, athletics are the least priority, like and then it's like it's just kind of tough in the beginning, like when you see, like I remember seeing my friends get in like the craziest programs, and there was always that little bit of like stupid like jealousy there, and I was just like, why am I thinking like this? And then eventually it was like, okay, just focus on myself, screw that, I love my friends and like all this stuff. But yeah, I think even like whatever, literally whatever you want, there's so many different directions in university, and even though it's a scam, I think it's still very valuable. Like there's a lot of growth that can happen from like the challenges of university.
I think even just hearing you speak about your experience with university and how like second and third year felt like you didn't like school, and then beginning to like school again, that's super inspiring to me. Yeah. Because when I was in high school, I loved going to school, and then when I got into university, that just like shifted a lot, and then I started feeling like that wasn't even something that I liked to do anymore. So I think this has been very helpful for me, just like the last 5 minutes, because I'm super inspired to just kind of put my best foot forward now and actually do something that is new and scary and stick it out.
It's very fun. It's very fun to try new scary things. But yeah, I think there definitely is like an element of like learning to love school. Like I went into university really happy, and as soon as it started, sadness for the first 2 years, and then it was like I finally got to like learn that like this isn't that bad and I should be grateful, and like it is a lot of fun. My mentality was screwed up and my habits weren't in place. But then like once those got right, after I like had some of it like self-awareness of like, okay, why am I doing this? Just toughen up, it's go study, stop being lazy, stop scrolling on your phone, social media, then you just get into the groove. What's your laptop?
Yeah. It needs a coffee or something.
Keep sleeping. Oh, you're good.
There we go. I wonder what that's like for you. Like, how did you kind of get on track in terms of buckling down for university?
I realized that like, because my second year was by far the worst year, like terrible GPA, and like then I was like, I kind of realized I had the same exact thing in grade 11. After grade 11 ended, we had COVID, so my grades were good, but like I realized like, okay, I need to like, for grade 12, I need to like do it. I need to finally like be good at school. And it's always like, I think for me it's just realizing that the end is near, and it's like when I focus on the end, then I kind of like get the foresight of like that X amount of years or that period, and it's like, okay, I need to lock in so I can like not regret it when I'm done.
Oh, okay.
So that's pretty much my mentality. It's funny because like in high school that exact same thing happened, and it's happening now, and I went through the same struggle in 2020 as I did in 2023 of like that conversion and like change in the shift in how I viewed myself and everything. Like of like just I viewed myself as stupid, and then like I actually just started to put in the habits and stuff. I had a lot of imposter syndrome too. Like I really just felt like I didn't deserve anything, and I was like, because it was online school before, and I was like, okay, the only reason I did good was because of online, and then I kind of proved myself wrong. But that goes again with what we were talking about earlier, like, or like what I mentioned about what you said. Like, you just look at the evidence that you have, and like I feel like in life you just need to have like, you need to give yourself evidence of like, I can do this, and then move on to like a bigger thing, and then bigger thing, and then bigger thing. But at a certain point, I think you just gotta accept who you are. You can't just keep going big and big and big forever. I think that's too much, and it's like, you're never gonna be happy.
I think that's true. Yeah, especially in terms of looking at evidence that you can do it.
Yeah.
That was a big struggle for me in university, for sure, is that I had all this evidence from high school that I could do it, and then it was like completely different.
Yeah.
Like playing fields when it gets to university, and I didn't really have much of that confidence that I could do the things that I was able to do before. And I don't know if you knew this, but when I was in grade 12, I got into a car accident.
Oh, really?
And I think that's it was not the greatest. I was driving and I got hit from the side, and
this was like T-bone, like intersection. Oh, crap!
And it was that was kind of what really shifted my like high school experience. Also, it's like that was right around the time where I started to feel like I wasn't smart anymore and I wasn't a good student. And
really,
yeah.
Why?
I think it's because a lot of my abilities changed after I was in my car accident. Like it was much harder to focus, and it must have been because of the concussion.
You're injured, concussion. Yeah. You can't look at screens. You can't read
and it was
like
also like last semester of grade 12 where things just like really start picking up, and I didn't feel like I could keep up. And then that was a lot of evidence to me when I got into university that I wasn't smart enough and I couldn't do the things that I thought I could. And so that, I think, played a bit in a part in just me not being the most confident in myself. Is that something really big had happened to me, and I kind of, I guess, made it up in my head to be like like a life-ending kind of, I can't do school anymore, I'm not smart enough kind of mentality that is not helpful, and I don't really think that it's true anymore.
I think all those thoughts are always just complete BS, and it's just, I don't know why we do that. Like, I don't know why we convince ourselves of those narratives and stuff, but it's just, I know what you mean, man, because that is, like, it's very real, and I suffered from that for a long time, and then I just, like, I don't know. Yeah, as soon as you just have to give yourself evidence of like you need to, like, prove to yourself in some way that, like I can do this, and that's the beauty of goal setting, I think. It's just, like, moving from, like, smaller to bigger and bigger and bigger, but not too big, just big, because then it's just a cycle. Then if you just, like, go on and on and on and on, it's like you're kind of addicted to the fun of it, but I feel like you need to stop at some point.
We wanted to talk about goal setting. That's what was on my mind, because one of the things that my family does that I think is really useful for all of us as a family is at the beginning of the year we all set goals, and we set goals for ourselves, and we also set goals for other members of our family.
Oh, like one person sets a goal for the other family member?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which is, I think,
that's cool.
It's kind of like just a polite way for us to tell each other that we want to see a change in their behavior in certain ways.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one, actually.
Because I think for my family, a lot of them were saying that they just want me to be happier as, like, one of my goals that I should have for myself.
Okay.
And then I also, like, my parents are gonna watch this because I told them to, but
hey guys.
but I also secretly set a whole bunch of goals for myself that I didn't tell anyone else about.
Okay.
Because I think in my head that if I tell people about my goals, then it's harder for me to reach them, because I feel a lot of external pressure towards meeting my goals.
Yeah.
And one of the goals that I had set for myself, was to be on this podcast, which I'm really glad that...
Let's go.
I'm really glad I got invited on.
Yeah.
It's been very fun.
Hey, you wanted to come on. I had to honor that request.
I think I probably, like was very borderline, like, begging you to let me come on and speak on your podcast. So
no,
it was lovely to get invited.
No.
But I also set a goal that I wanted to buy a motorcycle, which I did not, but I still want to maybe ride a motorcycle.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I think that's one of my secret goals that, this is the first that my parents are going to be hearing about this.
Well, future you, let's see if you achieve that.
Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah.
And I also wanted to try and get back into school. And what I did in terms of trying to meet that goal is I applied for school.
Yeah.
But it's a long story that basically ends with me not being in school right now.
Okay.
So, but yeah. I think for next year, especially because you've inspired me a lot, I think, like, even though your podcast is for the listeners, it's also for me. I feel like...
You are a listener.
I know. Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
I feel like talking to you has given me, like, a lot of inspiration to
Let's go, dude. Let's freaking go.
Try and get back at it and try and do cybersecurity again, because when I was doing cybersecurity, it was a lot of fun. It
sounds cool. Just the name is, like, so, like, badass. I don't know. It just sounds insane.
And I have another laptop that's like maybe like 4 inches bigger than this one that I do my coding on, and it's super fun.
Oh, you know how to code?
Not really, but I'd like to learn.
Okay, yeah. I mean, see, there you go. So you have all these things laid out. You just got to put them all together.
Yeah, and that's it. And I feel like what you were saying about just laying out pictures of success, I think that's going to be something that I'm going to do for next year when we're setting our goals, is I'm going to try and take things that I've achieved and kind of build off of that.
Exactly, yeah.
So I think, I didn't really have, play in a new sport on my goals, I don't think, but I do want to, like, build up in, like, in terms of playing softball And I also play badminton with my mom, which is so much fun.
Oh yeah.
Because one of our goals for each other was to do a sport together.
That's so cute, bro. Nah, that's sick. That's sick.
I think it's lots
good
of
stuff.
fun. And
good family time.
yeah, I love my family. And I really love that our success, the success of my family, of everyone, is like celebrated by everyone else.
Yeah, it's like pure. Yeah.
One of the things that I do when I focus on goal setting is I kind of look at everything that I want to achieve in order for me to feel more like myself. Because I think after high school, especially towards the end, like after my car accident, I started to feel like I wasn't really myself. I started to feel like I was kind of like a stranger to myself. And that is kind of why I feel more better. That's not proper grammar. I'm sorry.
Feel better.
I'm sorry, Mrs. G.
If she's watching. Yeah.
But yeah, I feel better about who I am as a person because I'm able to do more of those things that make me feel like myself, like playing sports, and then now like being super enthusiastic about school.
Yeah.
And that was kind of just me rambling a lot about getting back to just the feeling of forming my identity.
Yeah.
I think that's really what I wanted to talk about today, is just the struggles of adulthood and then like discovering who I am.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that helped. Hopefully this helped. And last thing I want to ask you. Do you think you've achieved your goal of being, or that your parents and your family set for you, of being happier?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
And I think it's because of a whole bunch of other things that I have done.
Okay.
That's kind of just the short and sweet of it, is I think that I am becoming more myself.
Yeah.
And I think that in itself makes me happier.
Definitely,
just to like feel like I can do the things that I know I could do.
Yeah. Yeah, playing a character is like the best way to get depressed. Like, it's terrible.
Yeah.
But
especially when it's a character that you just hate. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a strong word, but like
No, it's a word that you're using well in this sense, because self-hatred when you're playing a character is real, and it's yourself telling yourself to like stop. So
yeah,
that's good.
I started to realize that I get to be me, and that's kind of just the joy of life.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Put that on a t-shirt.
We love that. No, we'll quote that on you'll quote that on your wall if mom, dad, and little bro are watching, and big bro.
Yeah, I've got 2 brothers, and they're wonderful.
Yeah. No, your family sounds awesome. That's awesome. All right. Any closing words?
No.
No? Yeah, that's cool.
Well,
yeah.
Actually, I just wanted to say thank you for having me on.
No.
Because
thank you for coming. That is the more important thing.
Yes. I would also like to thank myself for coming, because this was a really wonderful experience.
It's a bit scary, right?
It is scary, and I think it's just because I get a little bit nervous when I talk, because I don't always think that what I'm saying is worth hearing. But I think that if anyone who listens to it is listening to it, then they think it's worth hearing. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, that's literally how it is.
Yeah. So
they wouldn't be listening if they thought it was stupid.
Yeah. So I think a little bit of that, I've gotten over it. I'm still super nervous. I'm probably still gonna consider crying on the bus home, but that's okay.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated coming out to chat with you.
It was very fun. No, thank you. Thank you so much for supporting it. Thank you so much for coming and being willing to come. Yeah, that was the episode. Make sure you drop a like. We'll drop Daphne's info down in the description. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, and see ya in the next episode.
Bye.